Greetings and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are designing 3 different types of 3D printed seedling tags. Starting with a super simple one that you can just write on. Then moving on to a raised 3D text. And finally creating a symbol based tag using an image. This last one is especially useful because it shows you how to take an image, turn it into an SVG in Inkscape, and then turn that into a proper 3D model you can print. So let's jump straight into it. Here we are in Fusion 360, and I'm gonna start with the most basic seedling tag that you can actually make. And I'm going to start by creating a sketch on the top plane. And I want to start with a 2-point rectangle. And I'm going to make this rectangle 50 millimeters by 25 millimeters. Now this is going to give me enough space to write whatever I want. And I want to make this a bit more beautiful, so I'm gonna create a fillet of 3 millimeters. I'm gonna go around and do the same thing for all corners. Okay, so now I have that. I'm gonna press enter, and I want to make a leg type thing that can go into the soil. So I'm going to start by taking a line from the middle and going 50 millimeters, and I want to make a pointy end to this. So I'm going to take a line that goes up that way, and I'm going to do it all the way up to here. Now you can simply leave this as it is if you want, but I want to mirror these two lines according to this line. So that will give me a pointy leg on the tag. And I can simply delete this one. I don't need it anymore. And that's it. Just finish the sketch. And now you can just select both of these areas, extrude by pressing E, and make it 2 millimeters wide, and that should be fine. You can just simply 3D print this and write whatever you want on it. That's your seedling tag. But we can improve this by adding some text onto this, make it look a bit more interesting. So let's create a new sketch onto this plane. And I want to create text on this. So I'm going to go to create text, and the way this text works, I'm going to go to one of these corners. So you see, if I move somewhere around here, as soon as I get to a certain point into the line, the mouse will snap into that place. So I can either go from here, or if I go to the middle, it will show me this triangle. That means I'm in the middle of this circle. So I'm going to go to that middle, and I'm going to click and drag to the next middle. And that will be my area where I'm going to put my text. So here I'm simply going to type tomatoes, and I'm going to make everything 6 millimeters, and probably I'm gonna do Arial black to give me a bit of thickness. And you see now it's jumping out of the area, so I'm gonna decrease the size. So I'm gonna make it into 5 millimeters, and I'm gonna put everything in center. Okay, now I can just finish the sketch. And if I click on the text, I can say extrude, and I will extrude by 1 millimeter. And there you go, that's your tomatoes tag for your plant. Now obviously you don't need to have that much space right here, so if we go back to the first sketch, we can simply double click here and make it 15 millimeters. And there you go, you have your smaller area of the background and you have the text tomatoes on top. Okay, so that's a very simple way to make put a text on a surface and make your own seedling tags, so you know which seedling is which. Okay, so now if you want to change the text from tomatoes to chilies, you simply go to sketch number 2, double click that, and you double click the text, and instead of tomatoes you just type chilies and say OK and finish sketch. Now you have a chilies one. If you double click the sketch again and double click the text again, you can say basil. Finish sketch, and you have a basil one. So you can play with this by just changing the text and making how many tags you want and for how many types of seedlings you will have. Quick note, friends, if you're enjoying these videos and finding them helpful, please take a second to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and it allows me to keep making more practical 3D printing and Fusion 360 projects like this. Alright, let's get back to the build. So for the third and final type of seedling tag, we're gonna get rid of all of these text and all of this, the whole plate. So I'm gonna be doing that by selecting the first sketch, and I'm gonna select the original sketch, and I'm gonna extrude up with the operation cut to delete everything. I'm only gonna keep the pointy foot. And let's hide the sketches so we see exactly what we're doing. So for this type of seedling tag, I'll be using 2 images that I've downloaded from the internet. One image is of a chili and the other one is of a tomato. And it's pretty much the same thing for both of them. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna import them into Inkscape. And Inkscape is a software that you can download for free, and I'll leave a link in the description below. And once you install it, don't worry about it, it's very simple to use. So we're gonna import our images by dragging and dropping them. Let's start with the chili. So we're gonna import the chili, say OK, and this is our JPEG of the chili. Now if we select the chili and we're gonna go to path and trace bitmap, and here we just have to click apply. Now as you can see, the software created an extra file which is the traced bitmap of this original JPEG that we imported. So we can delete this one. Now to make things a bit easier, I'm gonna import the tomato as well. Say OK. That's our tomato. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go path and trace bitmap and say apply. Now again, the software created another bitmap, and we can get rid of the original JPEG. And now we have both of them on the same page. We have the chili and we have the tomato. We can just go to export, and we're gonna choose a location, and we want to make sure that save as type it will be plain SVG. You can change the name to whatever you want. I'm gonna leave it to bitmap SVG. Right, now let's go back to Fusion 360. And we're gonna need to create a new sketch. We're gonna create the sketch again on the top plane, and we want to insert an SVG file. Now here is both of my bitmaps, and I want to leave them as they are at the moment. I'm just gonna say okay, and I want to be working on the chili first. So I'm gonna finish sketch. I'm gonna select the area of the chili which I want to extrude, and I'm gonna extrude this by 2 millimeters. And if I make that sketch visible again, I want to also extrude this by 1.8 millimeters. And that will give me this little gap, which later on I can fill in with white paint, because I want to paint this whole thing red. I want to paint the stem green, and I want to fill this in with white paint. So now I have two objects. I have one that's called, we can rename into chili, and one I can rename into stick. So now that I have the chili extruded, I want to make these, because they are the same size at the moment. So this is 2 millimeters and thick, and this is 2 millimeters thick. I want to extrude this down by minus 0.2. And if I look at the top view, I want to take this chili object and I want to move it about to put it on top of this. So I'm gonna simply drag it on top, maybe turn it around a bit, and I think that should be fine. That's my chili tag, and I want to combine both of these into one single object, and I want to export it now. Now that I've exported my chili, I can go back in the timeline. I can go back to where the chili is not connected to the stick, and I can simply remove the chili. I'm gonna right click and remove it. Don't delete it, just remove it. And then I want to go back to my tomato, and I want to extrude the same thing again. So I'm going to extrude the outside of the tomato by 2.2 millimeters. Okay, and I want to extrude the inside of the tomato and the inside of the stems by 2 millimeters, and that will give me a nice looking tomato shape. Now let's do the same thing we did with the chili, and let's name this into tomato, and I want to get my tomato object and move it on top of the stick somewhere there. Maybe I want to turn it a bit like that, and that should be fine. Now that's my tomato object, and you can do the same thing with any type of vegetable or fruit. So I'm going to select everything again, and I'm going to combine everything into one simple object, and I'm going to export this as a tomato. And that's all the design we need to do for this project. Now let's go to my Bamboo Studio and see what kind of settings we need to do for this print. In my Bamboo Studio, I'm going to import all my STLs. Just import everything one by one. So when I import a tomato, and I want to copy and paste the tomato because I want to make two of them, and I'm going to simply rotate this by 180. Okay, we'll move that close to the other one. Then I'm going to use the most of my space. So let's import the chili tag. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to copy and paste it and turn it upside down. I'm going to move it somewhere here. Let's import the text. So we have the basil text. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to have the chili text. So I'm going to rotate this by 180. I'm going to move it wherever I want. I'm going to move it there. And let's import the simple tag. So this is the simple one which has no text on it. I want to make 4 of these. So now I have everything I need, and let's see what type of settings we're going to use. So for these, I'll be using 0.2 layer height, and I can actually do at strength, I'm going to use 100% infill. And I want to go to wall type, wall generator. I want to do Arachne. And that's pretty much it. And I think that should be fine. Let's send this to print and see how they look like. And this is it, guys. These are my Seedling tags fully printed. I hope this video helped you in some way, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.